Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Isaac Christopher Lubogo, and although these days people are telling me not to pronounce it as Lubogo, he said I should pronounce it as Lubogo. But I'm talking to a veteran in politics, in military, the one and honorable Basakana, the man who could speak and leaves fall off their lips by themselves. And I discovered him, smoked him out in one of these hiding places. But I'm glad he's doing very well. Mr. Basakana, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Should I call you Afande or should I call
Just call me Basakana. I love being myself.
You love being yourself. Basakana has been a former MP, as you're aware. He has also been a former LC5, right? Yeah. LC5 and a number of other things. And a politician, an intelligence gentleman. But what intrigues me about this individual is particularly his philosophy. I got to know Honorable Basakana, I think, 20 years ago, 20 years or so, maybe 15.
More than, I think, Agnes is 32, remove like 6 years, some 25 years ago.
Some 25 years ago. And you know what intrigued me about him was his philosophy. There are very few African intellectuals we have, military people, but also intellectual. He is a man whom I first got to know and informed me about philosophy, psychology, intelligence. In fact, he actually influenced me to join law. By the time I met him, I hadn't even done law, you know. And then, but his reasoning and his resonance and our talk, our interaction with him, he inspired me. He's the first gentleman, by the way, who gave me the law dictionary when I was joining law school. I don't think you remember.
I do. I bought that law dictionary while at Makerere.
Yes.
I said as a political scientist, we had done a course in administrative law, and I knew law being a cross-cutting fact of life.
Yes.
I knew time and again we need to consult the dictionary and say, what are these guys, the land friends, land guys saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was very intrigued and impressed by the gentleman that he could hold on such pieces of knowledge, even in his home. I call him a political thinker and a philosophist in my own right, really. Honorable Basakana, inform me about today's philosophy. You have lived a life, yes. You have been a teenager before, you've been a youth before, you have transcended over a period of, different stages in your life. In your opinion, what do you think substantially would be the most informative philosophy that runs across your life?
I think, to me the most core issue that would define, the most underlying thing that would define my thinking and philosophy for a future, because the philosophy basically informs you the type of society you want to build, informed by the past, factoring into the present, and wanting to make a better future. To me, what informs my philosophy is sticking to a big picture against the smaller picture. I believe that if you had two things, a drum and a mug, and you want to carry them properly, which one do you fit into the other to carry them properly?
Right.
Certainly, if you carried the mug in your hand and the drum, the grip on the drum would not be good.
Right.
But at the same time, you cannot fit the drum into the cup.
Yes.
Meaning you can't fit the big into the small.
Right.
You must fit the small into the big.
Right.
Throw the cup in the drum, have a nice grip on the drum, carry the two comfortably.
Right.
So, I look at many people in life, their approach to managing society, and of course for managing society for better welfare of the peoples.
Right.
But people think they can be better off in a society which is not well off. That is momentary, that is apparent, and it is something you will certainly have to lose. I will give you a simple example of politicians who had it wrong in philosophy. Now, blow you call them what? Is it a bugle, what, a vuvuzela? Drive vuvuzela and say, I mean, these children come here. You will not think they are children of somebody who was given an opportunity to shape this country. And maybe also Oboti.
Yes.
Save for my younger brother who is still held on to the life support system of the status of the status quo. But if you don't want to build a country, a society which will look after you later, then you are mistaken in the type of politics you are driving, informed by your own philosophy of small being put before the big.
Right.
You are putting the cart before the what? The horse. You will lose it all. You will lose it all. So, across my entire lifetime,
yes,
of course, I'm a frustrated man. Not because I'm not rich. After all, I would not find the value of being rich in Uganda as it stands today. I will inform you with the certainty that many of the people who have built their houses on the sand, who have accumulated their wealth on the sand, they are going to lose it.
Wow. Wow.
They are going to lose it certainly.
I would like to explore a few things in light of the statement that has just touched me. You said, I am a frustrated man, and that has touched me. But also, I want to...
But excuse me.
Yes.
I am a frustrated man, but not frustrated because I don't have anything material.
No, I understand. I do understand.
I am frustrated because as a younger person who, out of... I don't know the correct word to use, but let me use a simple word.
Yes.
Who was tricked by circumstances to join Yoweri Museveni, thinking these guys are their vision. You know, at Makerere, I was lucky to be tutored by very good professors.
Like who?
Professor Wamba Diawamba was our visiting professor.
Okay.
That man who was lied to become a rebel in Congo and he just disappeared in Bolivia. Professor Ali Mazuri was our visiting professor. Our mainstream professor at Makerere was Professor Muhammad Mahmudan. You know?
Yes. He's running a program.
Exactly. Yeah, we are the visiting professors like Ngugi wa Thiong'o.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Having had a chance to interface with those fellows, we read a lot of literature about revolution.
Right. Did you interface with Professor Makandala?
No, not quite.
Okay.
Having interfaced with those professors, we did a lot of literature review.
Right.
About struggles like in Guinea-Bissau of the Amilcar Cabral,
yes.
Agostino Neto in Angola,
yes.
This man who was there before Samora Machel, I'm forgetting Eduardo Mondlane,
right.
and many others, Mao Zedong, name it.
Yes.
Never mind that much of their thinking was informed by the Marxist philosophy. But to me, Marxism-Leninism to me was a small touch of understanding of political economy.
Right.
It was not all.
Right.
It did not stop us from.
And when you talk about political economy, then maybe you probably have interfaced with Yash Tande, Professor Yash Tande.
Exactly. Professor Yash Tande, who was in Tanzania then. Yes. He was part of the Mazuri group.
Yes, the Mazuri group.
Yeah, then that time. So, between me and you, it was easy for us to think that the NRA struggle was borrowing from that philosophy.
Okay, I do get your point.
You get me?
Yes.
Even when we interfaced in the bush, things seemed like in that direction.
Absolutely. I see.
But after 4 years,
right,
things seemed to lack the cement. And they began disintegration.
And that informs.
So that is the crux of my frustration.
I see your point. And what
because
yes.
I think the country lost the big picture.
Okay.
Pan-Africanism
was lost
because Uganda had to deal with its case and have something to offer to the Pan-African cause.
Right.
You cannot give what you don't have.
Absolutely.
Uganda has nothing to offer to Pan-Africanism.
Right.
You know? So when I talk of frustration,
it's in that angle.
It's not in the small picture,
no, I get the point.
but the big picture.
And what amazed me, which informed what I was coming to, is a super statement that we made one time. He says, I think that was the beginning of your frustration in quotes. When you made this statement and said, we are looking for people, maybe younger breeds, to use that phrase, and he said, if we are stopped from saluting, physical saluting. Of course, the soldier,
Yeah.
with that military, then our hearts will salute
Exactly.
to that individual.
Our hearts would salute the worth younger individual. And you know,
Yes.
every generation has something to offer to itself and the future.
Right.
When an old generation sticks in the way, it is a disservice to young people and the future. You know?
Right.
The thinking that younger people have nothing to offer is wrong. No, younger people come with something new
Absolutely.
in them.
Absolutely.
And they need a base and a space to blossom.
Absolutely. I really applaud you for those very strong statements from a gentleman like you who can affirm and say those particular statements at such a time. Others would like to sing and dance the tune of particular individuals because they want to be.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yes.
I left the NRA struggle at a tender age of 32. That is the age when a younger person would have been very interested in a smaller picture and say, so what, we have now arrived. But I never lost track. I remember when I signed out to leave the military.
Yes.
By then I was commandant of a leadership institute called the School of Political Education in the Army. General Muntu was an army chief. He called me in and said, Basakana, why have you chosen to leave the army? I said, there is no more army to serve. Because to me, I think it is a lost cause. I could afford to tell an army chief that because Muntu is an extremely civilized gentleman. So he paused for a moment and said, now, the problems you are leaving behind, who do you think will constitute the team to fight those problems?
Right.
And I told him, imagine two things. A sack of beans with little stones, and a sack of stones with little beans. When you are sorting little beans from the stones, you say, let me sort the beans from my stones.
Right.
But when the beans are too many, the stones are few, it is like, let me sort the stones from my beans. In this army,